Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Sergio's Diaries. Well, I have been saying that the Lyft 70/30 guarantee after external expenses is nothing but hocus pocus since the first week they announced that pay guarantee. Well, finally, I have something to prove it with. We had many screenshots that we received in the past, but this one is as blatant as it gets. We're going to show them to you, but I wanted to run this by the community to see if others have experienced this. So, in order for me to collect more evidence, I'm urging all of you to take screenshots. This is on Lyft. Lyft 70/30 guarantee after external expenses. What I would like you to do, especially on tipped trips, I would like you to take a screenshot of the receipt as soon as the trip ends. And when the tip shows up, does the external fees and Lyft service fee completely change to fit the 70/30 parameters? That's all I'm looking for. So, if you do take a screenshot right after the trip and you go back maybe a couple hours later or after you receive a trip, and it doesn't even have to be on a trip that includes a tip, I would like you to double check pretty much every single trip that you do on Lyft. When you finish the trip, go take a screenshot of the receipt. Go back a few hours later, maybe the next day. Check those screenshots with the current receipt of that specific trip. If you do see any numbers changing in the two line items that I'm interested in, which is the external fees that Lyft charges, which includes supposedly commercial insurance, city taxes, state taxes, airport drop-offs, and things like that, and if those two line items change. What I've been saying is that the commercial insurance amount that they charge, we have no idea if it's correct or not. They seem exorbitant in some states like California and Florida, but the companies have been complaining about high commercial insurance rates to start with. Okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's give Lyft the benefit of the doubt in this case. But the two line items that to me are interchangeable are external fees and Lyft service fee in order for the driver at the end of the week to receive 70/30 split. So, when the external fees are extremely high, it seems like to me the next line item, which is the Lyft service fee, is very low. And vice versa. When the external fees are very low, or external expenses are very low, it seems like the Lyft service fee is very high. It definitely seems like there's a correlation or an interchangeability between those two line items. So, with that said, email them all to me if you see a difference after a day or a few hours on tip trips, airport trips, whatever trips that you do. Because once a trip ends, those numbers should stay. They should not change. Well, email them to me, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. Now, let's take a look at this specific trip. This was in Nevada, in Las Vegas specifically. It was an airport drop-off on a scheduled trip. This driver, you're going to see it, the screenshots any second now. The screenshots side by side. It was a scheduled trip to the airport. He completed the trip. It ended. He got paid $21 and change, as you all can see. The receipt, he took a screenshot of. And then, a few minutes later, the generous writer tipped him, quite nicely in fact. And then, he went back and looked at the receipt, and the external fees and service fee has completely flipped, completely changed. The one thing that did not change was what the rider paid. Now, in this case, did Lyft know that there was a tip attached on this trip? Did they just finagle the numbers the way they choose to? Because you guys can see now over my shoulder, or actually the whole screen should be covered with it. The external fees flipped completely, and so did the Lyft service fee as soon as the tip came in. Why? Why should they change after the trip is over? If the commercial insurance is included in the external fee column, that shouldn't have changed. Why should the commercial insurance change after the trip is concluded? So, here's the dilemma. What is happening here is the algorithm adjusting those two line items, which I have been saying are hocus pocus. It's pretty clear. I've been saying it for a year and a half now. Is the algorithm moving those numbers around to make it fit not to pay this driver the 70-30 guarantee? I'm not sure what's going on. Now, if anybody can explain this to me, or have experienced something similar, I'm urging all of you to email me those screenshots. Sergio at therideshareguy.com. I've asked this for Lyft for an explanation. So far, I haven't heard anything. But we talked about it on Show Me the Money on Tuesday, extensively. If you're interested, please go check that out. We did a segment about this. Chris and myself were both dumbfounded. We couldn't explain it. We couldn't explain why the external fees and the Lyft service fee completely flipped or changed. It shouldn't even change a penny as far as I'm concerned, especially after the tip showed up. Some people said they stole his tip. They did not. The tip showed up. But what happened is that the rider fare did not change. So obviously it looks like Lyft knew that there was a tip attached to this. And once the tip showed up for the driver, or they included the tip, they flipped the numbers around to make it fit the 70-30 earnings guarantee. I want to investigate this further. I need your help. So please take screenshots after a trip when you conclude it on the Lyft platform. Then go back in and compare those screenshots, maybe at the end of the day, to the current ones that are displayed in your app. If there is a difference, take a screenshot of the difference. Since you have the older one right after the trip ended, it should be easily comparable, even if it's a few pennies difference. All I'm looking for is, did the numbers get flipped between external expenses and Lyft service fee? They should not. Once the trip is over, they should be written in stone. So, again, asking for your help. I'm sure you guys will send me a whole bunch of screenshots. I would like to further investigate this matter. And I think this is proof that Lyft's 70-30 pay guarantee after external expenses has been nothing but hocus pocus. Join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, on Show Me the Money Club. Be safe. Stay healthy, please.